To what extent is the HCA going to be able to fund regeneration in London over the next 4 years?
Well, the good news from the CSR is that there will still be some money. We know that there's around about £2.5 billion of new money for housing and regeneration over the next 4 years. It's nowhere near as much as we've been used to, but we've also got this new affordable housing investment model, which should enable that money to go a lot further. How that's going to be organised is something that we're going to have to spend a lot of time working on over the next 2-3 months with partners at the GLA and the boroughs. But I think that London should take some comfort from the fact that we've already got a fairly significant infrastructure dividend from schemes like Crossrail, the Olympics, and some of the other major transport investment, at least, that's coming through the pipeline at the moment.
And any other possibilities that regeneration people should be exploring in London?
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see what the government come forward with in terms of tax increment financing. They've promised us a paper on that. It'll be interesting to see what we can do with public land, particularly with the merger of the HCA and the LDA into the GLA. It'll be interesting, I think, to see what might come through from things like the new homes bonus. So I think there are some straws in the wind that I don't want to get too optimistic at the moment, because it's going to be a tough few years, but I think there are some devices and mechanisms that we can play with in London, and frankly that may well play better in London than some other parts of the country.
And the HCA, and you talk about the HCA and the LDA being merged in with the GLA. What do you see? Do you see there being a kind of specialist economic development and regeneration agency in London in 3 or 4 years' time? And what do you think it would look like?
Well, this is interesting, isn't it? I think that the GLA is still forming its ideas in terms of precisely what the new arrangements will look like. But the Mayor's got some pretty clear ideas, I think, about how he wants to broaden the offer around housing in London and affordable housing in London to embrace broader regeneration and economic development objectives. So I think, you know, the ambition and the sort of rough shape of what's likely to happen is clear in the Mayor's mind. I think how that settles in terms of detail is all to be sorted out in the coming months.
And this new affordable housing settlement, we're looking to move to a situation where affordable housing, instead of rents being 50% of market housing, they're more likely to be 80%. Now, this obviously raises questions for estate renewal. Is this not going to create a situation where, for tenants to vote in favour of the regeneration of an estate, they're going to have to vote for their rents to be upgraded from 50% of market rates to 80% of market rates? Is that not going to be a big problem?
Yeah, estate regeneration does raise some interesting questions in terms of the new affordable rent model. There's no doubt about that. This is something I think CLG are well aware of. We're talking to them. They're promising some sort of policy discussion paper very soon. I'm sure estate regeneration will feature in that, because clearly in some cases moral commitments, if not contractual commitments, have been made to residents, and those have not thus far assumed any major increase in rents or any change to their tenure status, assuming that they return to new properties that are built. So this is a big issue for us, and we're going to have to address that.